Okay, so is that all quick? Right. Okay, great to be here. So as you can tell, I'm going to be doing this in English because I'm hoping your English is way better than my Spanish. But you never know. We're talking about AI, so this time next year we may be able to kind of live stream with kind of real-time Google Translate, which is something that is an emergent capability for AI. What I'm going to talk about today, and it may be unusual for a security person to be positive and optimistic about the future, but I'm going to talk about why I think, despite many of the risks and concerns with AI, why we should actually be optimistic and why we should think about the potential for AI giving us advantage as defenders. And so when you think about particularly the latest round of generative AI that has been launched on the world in the last few years, I think quite rightly as security professionals, we're very focused on the risks, the threats, the way attackers are already using this for misinformation, for creating new social engineering attacks, new, better crafted phishing emails, early discoveries of AI-generated malware, AI being used to find vulnerabilities. Okay. I'll stand here and be in front of the mics. But what I think we can actually think more of is how AI can be used for defenders. And what I'll talk through in the next few slides is just how much we can use AI for defensive advantage to tip the scales in our favor. So I'm very, very optimistic. So I should clarify, again, as a security person, I'm actually short-term pessimistic. So I'm very clear that as we digitize the world, as we face more sophisticated threats, as many organizations still need to upgrade their security, we still face a lot of risk today. But as I look to the future with some of the innovations in software security, in hardware security, in cloud security services, and in particular through the adoption of AI, I'm actually very optimistic, probably for the first time in the past few years, about what the future brings in terms of our ability as defenders to get ahead of the attackers. And I think it's upon us as security people to start to look to this tooling. And so again, when we think about potential adversarial use of AI, it's on us as defenders to make sure that we're using AI to defeat the attackers and to stay ahead of those threats. It's also worth reminding ourselves that AI in security is nothing new. So for example, at Google, for over a decade, we've been using AI in pretty much everything that we do on security, whether it's filtering out phishing or malware in the billions of users of Gmail, whether it's what we do to discover malicious websites, to block those in safe browsing in Chrome, or whether it's the work that we do across cloud, looking for anomalous access levels with our IAM recommender solutions, or again in cloud, looking at detecting threats to customers by inferring machine learning-based signals from processor activity so we can detect harmful activity without ever getting close to impinging on the privacy of our customer data. So machine learning and AI in all its form has been transformational. But as we look forward, I think generative AI in particular is going to really focus us in on probably three main areas in the next few years. And we're already seeing some examples of this. So first is, and I'm going to talk through each of these in turn, but it really comes down to how do you stop the threats? How do you reduce the toil of security work? And how do you extend the skills and expertise of the cybersecurity workforce we've got? So let's look at these in turn. So in terms of stopping threats, one of our large language models, Palm 2, in the past year, we've taken that and trained it additionally on a lot of our threat intelligence information, on a lot of our information about how to write secure software, how to do secure configurations, both in cloud and non-cloud infrastructure, and a whole range of other security information, and used it to create this large language model called SecPalm2. And this is a specialist security large language model, and it enables us to do things like analyzing malware, analyzing configurations, analyzing threats, to then provide direct active input into all of the other defensive detection and response systems. And it's already proving transformational both internally and externally. And just kind of one example, from our colleagues down in Malaga at VirusTotal, we've been taking SecPalm2, aligning it with VirusTotal to be able to do real-time generative AI-based analysis of malware and using it to uncover different activities and be able to instrument malware analysis much faster than we've ever been able to do before. And again, this is just one example of many about the use of generative AI to help us with managing threats. The second piece is reducing toil. So when we think about the cybersecurity workforce challenges, we all know we need more cybersecurity workers, and we're all doing many, many initiatives. In fact, yesterday we announced a further $10 million investment in European universities to help train more cybersecurity professionals. We've done a lot with our Grow with Google cybersecurity certificates, again, to try and create more cybersecurity workers. But we've also got to look at the other side of this, which is we've got to increase the productivity of the cybersecurity workforce we've already got. And we think we can 10x the productivity, 10 times the productivity of the workforce using generative AI tools and our large language models for security. And so, there's many examples of this. This one here, we have a whole range of systems we labeled Duet because it's meant to augment the ability of a security engineer, a security analyst, a cloud engineer, a software engineer to be able to do their role more effectively. And this example is using it to analyze logs. We've got Duet systems that can generate secure cloud configurations. We've got embedded tooling for developer environments to help people develop secure software. So again, this is about reducing the effort and toil of security work so we can amplify the productivity of our security workforce. And then finally, it's about scaling talent. The other thing that we find as well is we don't just have a lack of cybersecurity workers across the world. We often have people that need more skills. And again, the Duet approach to coupling security large language models with our ability to scale the talent and create more skills and expertise, we find already that when you think about some of this example here, where we have attack path analysis tooling that we have built into our security command center tools, they can reveal attack paths where particular vulnerabilities might be exploited. Now, it takes a reasonably sophisticated security engineer to be able to understand and analyze these attack paths, and we do better and better tooling all the time. But one of the things we're already finding with our security models and the deployment of AI to this, as you'll see in this example, it can analyze the attack path, it can give a security engineer the suggestions about what might be happening and what the mitigations might be. And this is just one example of where we see the use of AI, of turning a junior security analyst into a more senior security analyst and taking the expert security engineers and giving them the ability to work broadly across an environment and really scale what they can do. And so, again, we think this approach to using AI to manage threats, using it to reduce the toil and improve the productivity of our cybersecurity workforce and make their jobs more enjoyable, and then finally, to be able to upskill people in their roles through the use of AI augmentation, I think is going to be tremendously important in the years ahead. And so we also think that this, for organizations that are not yet on the cloud, and clearly I have some vested interest in encouraging people to be on the cloud, but in all seriousness, when we think about the use of AI, it does require a reasonable amount of computing power. It requires, when you come to train an AI with your own organization's data, some capacity and performance and storage ability and a whole set of control technology that typically is only available in the cloud in its more general sense, although there are work in progress to enable on-premise deployments of various of our technologies. But generally what we're finding is using this as a cloud-based service creates a lot of advantage for organizations. Now, shifting gears a little bit, we have talked a lot about the potential for AI, but we also do need to talk about the risks. And one of the things that when we think about the risks, it's a broader set of risks to how to think about the safe and responsible deployment of AI in your organizations. And as a result of this, what we did at Google over the past year, and we released this earlier this year, is we built this thing we call our Secure AI Framework, and this is all available online. If you Google Secure AI Framework, all the documents and the website and all the materials come up. And this is based on our experience of deploying traditional deep learning and large language models and foundation models across large parts of our services. We've built up a lot of expertise over a long period of time about how to safely deploy risk manage this technology, not just on security, but also for compliance, for privacy, for trust and safety, to mitigate abuse. And we came up with this Secure AI framework to equip organizations with the ability to think through all of the different risks. So just let me kind of step through some of these things, because we've deliberately elevated this up to a risk management level. There are lots of intricate details in how you think about the security of particular AI systems, and there's lots of material on that. We publish a lot of research on that. But additionally, it's important to think about the end-to-end risk management framework. So the first point is about making sure that you're building the right foundations for managing AI inside your organization. And that really is two things. One, it's a software supply chain and a software risk problem. So at its heart, AI is software. You've got to manage the software supply chain of that just like anything else. You've got to think about the software that's provided to you by service providers. And you've got to protect and manage that software just like any other software to resist attacks and resist manipulation. But importantly on AI, and I do imagine many of you have started kind of doing research or working on this, is it's not just software. It's about data and data governance. So again, when you think about an AI model, it's about the training data, it's about the weights and parameters that drive the model, and also importantly, and some organizations forget this, it's about the test data as well, because a big part of maintaining and developing and securing and risk managing an AI system is making sure it's continuously tested. And some organizations aren't necessarily always focused on protecting test data, just like they protect their actual enterprise data. And in an AI system that is constantly adjusting based on continuous testing, you've got to protect the training data and the test data. And so we encourage organizations to think a lot about how do you take the software security, the data governance, and the data security creates an overall AI security program. Secondly, it's also about extending your detection and response and threat intelligence apparatus into the AI deployments that your organizations have. So again, all of you in your organizations will have detection and response capability. You may be in-source or outsource security operations. You'll have threat intelligence capability. You'll consume threat intelligence. But then you'll have a bunch of AI systems that are interacting with customers or interacting digitally with electronic partners or suppliers. And it's important as well to take that detection and response and threat intelligence capability into those AI deployments so that your security operations and threat management teams are looking and watching how the threats evolve to potentially attack your AI deployments as well as all of your other conventional deployments. Again, I think most of you will have probably figured this out, but occasionally we do see some organizations where the security team has not engaged deeply enough with their business teams on making sure that their AI deployments are in the sphere of all of their detection and response capability. The other important thing is to use AI not just for defense, but to use AI to manage the AI risks. And when you look at deployments, particularly of large language models, and you think about the safety harnesses that are put around that, often the input guards to an LLM is another LLM, and often the output filters of a large language model are a different large language model. And so thinking about the use of AI to be the risk management of AI is entirely fine, and most organizations do that. And so you don't need to necessarily restrict the use of AI to be defending and managing the risks of other AI deployments. And in fact, ultimately, AI becomes an ecosystem of controls that work together. The other thing as well is it's also important to make sure that you're equipping your organization with the right tools. Just like we've done over many years in improving software security, you can't expect every data engineer, maybe even every AI engineer, every business analyst, every software developer to understand exactly how to manage and mitigate the risks in AI. So you have to give them tools. I mean, of course, we'd love you to take tools from us, but there's plenty of other tooling out there. But the important thing is you can't let individual departments within your organizations just fend for themselves, because it's actually quite an intricate, difficult subject. Just like we've found with other security things over many years, you've got to give people the tools and the frameworks to enable them to do things in the right way while still being productive. And then you've also got to test the hell out of this stuff. One of the things that we find is it's important not just to do the classic software testing, the classic reliability and quality testing. We're finding it very, very useful to do red team testing. And we've now got a dedicated AI red team at Google. And in fact, you'll find this on, when you Google the Secure AI framework, you'll find something we published. We published a white paper on how to build an AI red team. And again, what we found is in many of our AI deployments over many years, we've got some fantastic teams that test the security, test the quality, test the reliability, test the trust and safety and privacy properties of everything. But just like in every other part of security, when you take a really good red team and point them at anything, they're going to find interesting things because of that red team mindset. And it's exactly the same on AI, and we've found exactly the same thing, that our AI red team has been fantastic at helping us build things not just in a secure way, but in a safe and responsible way. And so again, I think it's critically important, either with external help or with your own teams, to get a red team focused on your AI deployment. And then finally, the other thing we've got to remember is this is not just about the risks to the AI system itself. It's the risks to the environment in which the AI is deployed. And again, just like many other types of safety critical systems, when you deploy a piece of software that may change a physical environment, it may actuate some piece of physical infrastructure, or where it's changing data or posting transactions or affecting people's lives, any piece of software that does that, you'll typically deploy some guards around that, or some circuit breakers, or some independently constructed checks. And it's the same thing with AI. So you should not put an AI singularly in control of anything without some additional checks and validations and guardrails around it. And that's not saying that you can't control and manage the risk of AI. That's part of making sure you have a check and balance to provide that independent validation and verification of how the system is behaving. And again, that's not new. Many organizations, particularly in safety critical industries and in financial services and in healthcare, have many other steps in conventional software, and it's important to carry that over into the AI systems as well. So we're putting this secure AI framework into practice, not only inside Google, across all of our teams that we've been doing for many years, but we've also started partnering with many other organizations. We've created a thing we call our Safe Council, which is a number of organizations, both in the AI space and in the technology spaces, and we're looking to extend that to other organizations to really kind of help. And we want to make this as open as possible, because we think many organizations can contribute a lot more, even beyond what we've come up with on how to manage the risks of AI. This is also in partnership with some of the things we're doing amongst the core AI companies. So we've created a thing with some of the other AI companies like Anthropic, what we call our Frontier Model Forum, which is about how we protect the big foundation models and making sure that they're safe and secure and resistant to attack, and that we're protecting them in the right way. And so we're, as you'll see over the next year or so, we're going to be trying to extend this community. But overall, we're publishing more and more information about our experiences and our experiences with customers on how to risk manage AI and to take advantage of it in safe and responsible ways. So one of the things I did want to say, and just kind of in starting to wrap up now, one of the reasons I'm here this week, as amongst wanting to speak here, is yesterday in Malaga we opened Google's latest Google Safety Engineering Center with a focus on cybersecurity. So this is a part of our growing expansion and creating a cybersecurity hub for the world, but especially for Europe, centered here in Spain. And this is a bringing together of our VirusTotal business, our Mandiant business, our Google Threat Intelligence, our cloud security engineering capabilities, and many, many more teams that we're integrating together. And so a big part of what that organization in Malaga is doing is it's acting as our threat observatory. And interestingly, one of the things we just released yesterday, and some of you may have seen this already, is a VirusTotal report that's showing, again, how already we're using our SecPalm 2 and other foundation AI models to be able to facilitate the speedier analysis of malware and to promulgate defenses around not just the Google environment and our customers, but the world in general. And you're going to see more and more out of our cybersecurity center, and it's we're really proud to host that and have that here in Spain. And then similarly, we're also very, very proud today we'll be announcing our partnership with CCN CERT. And again, this is another part of our significant investment in Spain, and not just investment in infrastructure, investment in particular on cybersecurity because of the expertise we find in the country, and now we're going to keep growing our capability down in Malaga and other parts of Spain as well. So we're very much looking forward to that ongoing partnership. So just closing, I just want to wrap up and say, again, we absolutely need to be careful with the deployment of AI and how it's going to take effect over the next few years. We absolutely need to be very careful and watchful of how attackers are going to use AI against us. But when we deploy AI in safe, secure, and responsible ways, it's going to give us as defenders a huge capacity. And I think, and what we're finding in this early stage now, is that we're seeing already that the use of AI by defenders is already starting to have the potential to outstrip any use of AI by attackers. And I think it's on all of us to grasp that opportunity and take AI forward in a safe and secure way, because I think ultimately it gives the defenders more of an advantage than the attackers. So again, thank you for your time today, and I hope you've had a great conference, and we'll be looking forward to seeing more of Google cybersecurity here in Spain. Thank you.
pantalla se ha bloqueado y os la